Hello, MotoAmerica fans. It's time for another episode of Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and you may even learn something from this unlikely pair and their special guest. The mic is yours, Paul and Sean.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Carruthers. I'm the communications manager for MotoAmerica, and this is our weekly podcast, Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. As I mentioned, I'm Carruthers. I've also got Bice with me here. Sean, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Fresh off Minnesota, and not bad to go a little north in the Midwest here from where I am. So I flew to this one, which it was only about 2 hours in the air, but with the time change, it was different. But I know, does this feel like going to Minnesota for you? I mean, it's still pretty much Midwest, so it's a little less than going to obviously New Jersey for you guys, but it's still a long trip no matter what, isn't it for you?
Yeah, it was a hike. I mean, the thing that adds to that day of travel, or we made it 2 days because we actually left Sunday and drove up to the airport, but the airport's got to be 2.5 hours away from the track.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. Yes.
That's the real issue. I'm glad we did what we did because we had a 6 a.m. flight. And if we didn't do it that way, we would have had to, we'd start driving at 3 a.m. or something, so it worked out okay. I was pretty happy with Brainerd, as I'd been there, way back 30 years ago or 25 years ago, wherever it was. And I'd been there quite a few times for both World Superbike and AMA Superbike. And I thought it's definitely got an old school feel to it. It's we did some laps out in the infield in golf carts, and there's people just randomly having fires and all kinds of odd stuff going on there, but everybody seemed to enjoy it, and it was a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, and the weather was great too. I mean, a little bit we had the overcast and the smell of the wood, but for the most part, the weather was terrific. I mean, the humidity was pretty low after that first day of setup, and it was comfortable the rest of the time there, and that was nice. I mean, it's one of those things where I was thinking to myself, kind of glad I'm not here in the winter, but this seems to be the ideal time to be there. And obviously that area is known for vacationing anyway, so I can see why. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff there, so it's good. And it's going to be cool to talk to the guest we got on today because, him driving up there and, haven't been at that area before. Well, he has raced a club race there. Actually, he raced a club race there a couple of years ago. So it'll be interesting to talk to this guest, but I won't give it away until you start the introduction there, Paul.
Well, we can go ahead and say it. It's our guest today is Chris Parrish, and he's fifth in the Twins Cup points. He has 3 podiums. He's only 16 points away from third, which obviously from fifth to third makes a big difference in how you view your year. And he's also, I think he's had his most excellent summer vacation thrown into California and Washington and then Minnesota, with a bit of work thrown in to race motorcycles and do the work that it does take for a privateer like Chris to actually make it to the races, work on his bikes, get everything ready, etc. Chris is also special to us because, as most of you would know, he was our first ever Twins Cup champion in 2018, which was the first year of the Twins Cup class. So it's good to have Chris on. And Chris, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. What's up with you guys?
You sound a little sluggish. Did you just wake up? It's what, noon there, 11?
Was it a 10:15? No, I'm just out here in the garage, just working. I don't know, trying to get my day started. I'm eating Lifesaver gummies for breakfast this morning. I'm out of granola bars.
Well, that's a perfect substitute. I mean, gummies, that's I think those gummies cover most of the 4 food groups. So you got a balanced breakfast going there, Chris. That's very good.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. You guys should try it.
So we thought maybe you were mowing the lawn this morning or something, but no, you're out in your shop. Now is that the shop where you do all your painting and everything as well?
Yeah, it's the same shop. No, today I'm actually building 2 endurance tanks, because after the Pittsburgh round next weekend, we have the Pittsburgh Endurance into the weekend after. So I don't have time to go cut grass. So it's just kind of like knee high right now.
Yeah. Well, just get a hay baler in there and you'll be okay. So so you staying up there after our race weekend in order to do the endurance the following race weekend?
Yeah, that's our plan. I guess we're going to make a little mini vacation and go to the beach somewhere and hang out because, to come home from Pittsburgh to go back, it's 20 hours round trip and however much in fuel. So there's no sense of coming back home.
Yeah.
What beach is there?
I don't know. I'm sure Beth will find one somewhere. She'll find something for us to do. That's what she likes to do.
Well, that's good. You got to have that because it does make a difference in the way your summer goes. At least if you can mix in some fun and see some things you haven't seen before. And it was interesting to watch your Facebook and Instagram and all the other social media stuff and see your trip out to California and things like that. It was kind of, somebody like me who just flies into the races and I don't get to see all that stuff. So it's kind of cool to see it through someone else's eyes.
Well, so that's kind of the agreement that me and Beth have. She goes racing with me, and at the same time, on our adventures where we're going, she looks on the phone and finds things for us to do, or she has like downtime at work. She'll figure out a route for us and go and visit places. And it's just, why not? We're traveling so far at all different parts of this country, and there's so many things to see. So you might as well take advantage of it and, add a little extra time to your trip to go visit places. And it's fun, and that's what we do. We do all the social media so, people can follow us and maybe get ideas for their adventures and stuff.
Yeah, in case they don't get to go and see the world's biggest ball of string or something.
Where we were at, we saw like the world's largest frying pan somewhere. I can't remember.
Oh, I remember the world's the largest pistachio. That was good, but yeah, the frying pan.
Oh, where was that at? I can't remember that. But we passed the largest truck stop in Iowa. This past trip going up to Minnesota. Like on Interstate 80 or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
What's
I'm
the
always
deal on that?
driving.
Is a lot of trucks there, Chris? What's the deal?
Well, I don't know. We just drove past it going down the interstate, and we just saw there was, how it is, like when you're up in, you probably don't even know, but up in like the Dakotas and stuff, they have billboards like every mile for like 50 miles, going up to this one, grocery store or gas station or, and that's how we even found the pistachio. Just reading the billboards as we go, and it's like, well, we're here, we might as well pull over and check it out. So that's where the pistachio came out of.
So you had raced previously at Brainerd, so you knew the track a little bit, but going back up there, I mean, that track, they do a lot of pretty active club racing there. So the track gets used a lot, and obviously when we were there was a drag race as well. So that configuration is quite interesting, isn't it, Chris? Tell us about that from a Twins Cup racer's point of view.
Well, yeah, I guess the whole Joker thing, the carousel with the Joker on the end of it was, pretty surprising to a lot of people. That's just kind of a random turn or situation or whatever. But the rest of the track was fun. It seemed normal. But trying to get through that Joker, it's pretty tough. And then, the series of turns that are after it, you have to string it all together. But definitely a different track. Now, what's different about Brainerd is in Minnesota, up in that area, I call it the frozen tundra. Like last year and the year before, I went and visited Andy to build bodywork. And that was back in January. And in January, it's like negative 20 degrees in Minnesota. So one year I kind of drove in at the right time and I got snowed in. It froze. And like one random Sunday, the sun came out and I had to leave really quick. But up there, they have like a 6-month window where it thaws out, and then like they already have races planned. And that's why there's so many things going on at Brainerd, because not only the road racing, but the drag racing, and I guess they had snowmobiles in the lake. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was kind of random. So, but that's what Brainerd does. They they schedule all these events because they have a short window of where it's thawed out before it freezes again. And when it thaws out, those guys go crazy, man. I mean, they're racing about every weekend. They can do anything that they can do, and they have to do it in a short amount of time. So other than that, I mean, Brainerd up there is really a fun town.
Yeah, there's interesting, you know, when we talked to you up there, and this is the first track I've ever visited where the start finish was in a different place than the pit area. So I know it really impacted you guys with Beth being your crew. I mean, it was almost like she had to be in two places at once to be over in the pit area, but also to be on the grid with you. So talk about that. That was tricky. And how'd you guys handle that whole thing?
We had a little bit of help. On Saturday, Brandon Cole helped us out. But yeah, she had to get a ride up to the start line, which is way up there. And then after, you know, most teams have multiple people, but it's just me and Beth. So yeah, she would catch a ride back and, you know, stop at our trailer and pick up the cart that has the, you know, the tire warmers and the stand and the generator, just in case there was a red flag. And then she had to hustle over to pit lane.
Wow.
So, but you know, that's me and Beth has always come up with a plan, and we've always made it work, but it took a little bit of help because she doesn't know how to ride the scooter. She's, you know, intimidated of two wheels, actually. That's kind of random, but you know, so she has to do a lot of walking, so she gets a workout in, and she enjoys it for whatever reason. I don't know.
Chris, as I mentioned at the top of the show, you're fifth in the Twins Cup Championship right now, and you're only 16 points from third. How do you grade this season for yourself? Did you count this as a good year? Or do you count this as a bad year?
Oh crap! I don't know. I mean, I would say it's a good year, I guess. You know, honestly, I didn't have a plan to do the whole season. I had talked with Chris Ulrich, you know, at the end of last season, and I was like, "Hey, man, I want to buy an engine from him because I just want a fast bike and I want to go do a couple of MotoAmerica rounds." And he's like, "All right, well, cool." But some things kind of fell through, and I ended up getting the engine like the Monday before Road Atlanta, and you know, took it down there and practice, and everything didn't go too well. Took a little while to get the bike adjusted. I mean, the engine was fast. That was about the only thing that was keeping me up. And then the first race didn't go so well. In the second race, I just got lucky that the kids up front crashed and ended up third. So that helped me out in points. And me and Beth was like, well, crap, let's just go to Virginia and see how well you do. And I ended up getting third in the first race. In the second race, I had a bad start and I got run off the track. So, and I was still doing well in points, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And then, you know, in Washington, the first race I crashed, and it kind of hurt the points, even though I was running second points, I think, before Washington. And then, I don't know, it's just like we're having fun and we're in the series. Well, might as well keep traveling around with the circus and, you know, keep the show going.
Right.
You know, Chris, we've talked about this before, but the evolution of Twins Cup from the beginning to now has been so dramatic. I mean, in the beginning, it was, you know, you were club racing, you raced in SV 650 a lot. And over the time, of course, we've had an influx of younger riders. We've had, you know, the Aprilia come in. Now we've got the R7 coming in. And, you know, the manufacturers are paying attention to that class, and it's kind of become, that bike has kind of become what the super sport had been in terms of middleweight, and you kind of wonder what's going to happen at some point. But, you know, the R7 debuted at Brainerd with Hayden Schultz and Jackson Blackman, and, you know, they did okay. They didn't set the world on fire. The Aprilias have been doing well. But here you are with this SV 650 that you probably is one of the most developed that's out there. And you talk about the power in the engine or something, but you know, admittedly, you've got a pretty old bike, and it's, you know, it seems like maybe Suzuki might be the next one to do something, although I don't have any information on that. I don't know if you do, but it's an interesting class, and the bike itself seems like it's the future a little bit. Can you talk about like what you've seen transpire from the time that you won the championship till now, and the fact that you're still a contender in the class?
I guess the the main thing. It's not so much as the bikes. It's just the people that are getting involved in the class.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it kind of started with Ulrich and Team Hammer. And, you know, he stepped up the game with Dumas and then Rocco. And then now the Aprilia's in the class, you have the Italians coming in, and then you have all those guys working with Robum Engineering over there. I mean, there's a ton of knowledge, you know, with these teams now. But me, I'm kind of still kind of hovering where I was in 2018. It's just kind of me, you know, working on the bike and trying to get this thing adjusted. You know, there's a couple of guys that helped me out, and you know, I really miss Travis and Keith being there with me. But I'm probably about the only one that hasn't progressed, you know, having guys with me and, you know, with the knowledge and stuff. But the main thing is the guys that's come on board with the teams and the riders and the knowledge that's in the class now. Not so much as the motorcycle. The motorcycles can always be adjusted and, you know, built to go faster, no matter what they are.
Chris, how do your lap times compare? Do you get faster every year when you go back to the same places?
I like to think so, and I think that I do.
Right.
Honestly, I haven't paid attention, but I do go faster. You know, every year I go to these tracks, you know, and that's just the knowledge that I gained with my motorcycle and learn how to adjust the bike and get around the racetrack. But it kind of shows at the end of the weekend that I still have the speed and the ability to, you know, to keep up with the front runners. But like at Brainerd, I mean, I made a wrong spring choice, and the bike put me on the ground once, and it tried about 4 other times. So during the races, I just kind of back off and just, you know, finish with it on 2 wheels.
You know, Chris, we talked to you a while back about you had gone through that period where you tried out the Yamaha working with Andy Palmer, and he kept, you know, he could build fast machines. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, in order to do that, you're kind of at the edge of longevity or engine life, and it really taxes that engine or those engines. With your program that you've got with Suzuki and the fact that you've been running that SV for so long, how is the engine life with your engines in your bikes? Do you don't seem to you haven't had any DNFs. It seems like you've got it pretty dialed in terms of what you need to do to keep yourself, you know, what parts to freshen up and everything. Tell us about that and how you keep the SV going.
Well, I guess, you know, in the engine standpoint, you know, this year, the engine I'm on is a package that Chris and Tim, Team Hammer, has put together, just in case, like in the future, if somebody approaches them and like, hey, I want an SV engine, you know, this is the package that they're going to put together, and it's reasonably priced, and obviously I haven't had any problems this year, so it's deemed itself that it's going to hold together, and it's still going to be fast. Although on any kind of track days or practice days, you know, the 2 days we had with you guys, and I think I've been to 2 track days on my bike, I have swapped the engine out to put my practice engine in, which is, it's not a, you know, high built, high compression engine, but it's a competitive, actually it's the same engine that Teague rode at Virginia. That's the one I put in for practice. But you know, even like talking with Chris Ulrich and just making sure that this engine is okay, he compliments me. He's like, man, it's kind of crazy how you know how to, you know, take care of these engines. You swap the engine out, and he's like, I really appreciate it that you don't have any problems. And I'll just have to go back and say that, you know, hell, I've been riding these things for 18 years now, 17 years.
Wow.
So I don't know. I just know how to take care of it, and I know how to ride it to keep it together, not over rev it, and keep it off the rev limiter and all that other stuff.
You know, I can't remember which round or race it was, and you didn't really say too much about it, but I know from talking to Teague a little bit, you mentioned about an engine. Wasn't there a situation where he needed an engine and you gave him one, right? Wasn't that true for a race or something?
Yeah, that was Virginia.
Virginia.
Yes. I don't know if it was first practice or qualifying. They had a noise come about or something in their engine, and Chris Ulrich come to me. He's like, I need to borrow your engine. I was like, all right, it's in the trailer. Take it with you.
Wow.
So, but that engine, it had been refreshed last year. But like I said, it's still a 2 mil, but it's not a big engine. The cams are nothing. It's just kind of a backup. It's one I ran in 2019 for like the first half of the year. So, but yeah, that's one he borrowed from me to use, and he did well. You can tell it was down on power, but Chica's just he's a beast going around the track, and he did well with it.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about him and what he's done in his racecraft, and that's what I wanted to ask you. And you seem to be on the track a lot of times in a pretty good position to see what these, I guess we'll call them kids in front of you that are doing things. Do you see them doing anything regarding any different racecraft or style that's any different than what you do? And have you picked up anything from them and adopted it to your program, or do you just kind of let them do? That's what they do. I have my own thing, and I'm comfortable with what I do. How does that work?
No, they're just fearless kids, man. They're having fun, and they're aggressive. And I'm the 40-year-old guy that's out there. I'm a little conservative, I'll say, a little timid sometimes. And if they're making a pass on me, whatever, I usually let them go. And just kind of just get out of the way a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of times I get aggressive if I have the motorcycle and the power to do it, if I'm in a good position. But no, riding with T, that dude's a beast, man. He'll muscle you, and he will get his way around you, and it doesn't matter what he does. But he's a good, clean rider at the same time. Those kids are just having fun, and they figured out how to go fast on these V twins. It really is fun riding with them. I'll say that.
That's cool.
All right, I got a question for you, because you do always seem like you're enjoying yourself. And we already talked about the little, tying a vacation into it and making road trips more fun and seeing some things, et cetera, et cetera. But what really is it that makes you keep doing it? Is it actually riding the motorcycle? Is it life in the paddock? Is it life on the road? Is it just the competition of it all? What's the thing that makes you just keep coming back and wanting to do it more?
Oh crap, dude! I don't know. That's the hardest question you've asked so far.
I didn't mean to go all deep on you.
No, I think it's the whole package. I really love riding the SV, the V twins. I mean, it's the perfect amount of speed for me, and it's the perfect amount of aggression riding a motorcycle. And then there's nothing wrong with MotoAmerica, but I just like calling it the circus, because it's different spots, and it's the same people, and same everything. So it typically is kind of we're the clowns riding these bikes. But going and see everybody every weekend, it's fun seeing everybody. We joke about all of our friends are at the racetrack, and it's kind of true, because when we come home, we don't really hang out with anybody. But no, I mean, everything is just fun. I really do like racing motorcycles, and I'm kind of scared. And even with Rossi retiring, I'm just wondering which year. Every year I say I'm going to quit, but I don't really know which year I will quit. I'll keep going for as long as I can, as long as I'm competitive to run with the children. I'll stay doing it.
What would you do? I picture, like, even if you're not racing, is there anything you could do to stay in the paddock? I mean, your business doesn't really require you to be there, but would you try to work something out so you had a job that kept you there, or would that not be a situation that you could pull off?
I don't know. Maybe if a team asked me to come and work, I would.
Uh-huh.
But I really think I am going to take next year off. Unless somebody asks me to come ride a bike, I'm going to take a year off, because I really want to get this bodywork business going. I'd like to try to be a competitor to all the big box bodywork stores. I guess you can say that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I need to take a year off, because I've got the SV 650. I want to get the R7 bodywork going. I want to get Aprilia bodywork going, because all these guys right now are already asking me to build bodywork, even the Ninja 400. But going and racing, with MotoAmerica, it takes up so much time, and you could see all the traveling that we do. When I'm coming home, I'm only home for like a handful of days. I'm trying to cram as much work as I can in to get, caught up, things done. It's kind of becoming a pain in the butt, and I'm, being slow and work, and people are getting upset with me, and I just can't bring in that much work anymore. So, but no, if I can get body work, I think I'd like to, maybe get a store or something in the paddock, and maybe help teams. I don't know. I need to stay home for a year and get things figured out and get like an inventory, if that makes sense.
Right.
Chris, it's funny, you're an innovator with that bodywork, though. I mean, heck, that front fender that you've got on your bike that's all shrouded around the forks and everything. I mean, that is a real interesting development. You created that. Did you create that design? How did that come about?
Well, I mean, it's just, I guess it all started in Moto 2. And then, Andy made one. And that was the only one basically in this country. Was
right.
On the FZ07, the one that Andy made. So I don't know. I just sit down and made one for the second, third gen SV, and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks cool, but not a lot of people like it, and not a lot of people want to pay the money that I charge to build them. I don't know. I just think that it looks cool, and I'll build it for all the bikes that I build, just to have it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a trademark for you. It certainly is for your bike, that's for sure. And the thing is, your business is bodywork and painting. I mean, we get that, but the thing is, you're so versatile with what you do on your own team. I mean, you're an engine builder, and you understand suspension and chassis and all that. So to the idea about, if you were, well, let's say if it wasn't riding for another team, but another team wanted to hire you, there's a lot of skills that you could bring to a team and provide for them. So it'd be interesting from my perspective to see how things would be for you to be on a team like that, where, it's a larger operation than you. And I know that maybe not be something you want to do at this point, but you certainly have the talent and the skill to bring to the table and the understanding of the paddock. If that came to pass, what aspect would you have on a team? Would you be the kind of all-around guy? Would you be the engine guy? Would you be the suspension guy? What would you be?
Well, I'll just go ahead and correct you. I'm not an engine guy.
Okay.
I don't know anything about engines. I just know how to install them and take them out. How about that?
I think you know how to blow them up too, don't you? You know how to blow them up pretty good, I think. Yeah.
That's I think in the almost 20 years of racing, I think I've blown up 2 engines.
Oh, okay. Wow. I stand corrected. Yeah.
So, but no, I leave all the engine building to Mike Coppolis or Tim, Chris, all those guys that's built engines in the past for me. And I got an understanding about suspension, but I've never taken the time to take a fork apart and figure it out. So I kind of leave that to, the K-Tech guys and fast bike industry guys. But I don't know. I think, with me and Beth traveling around, I'm a guy that knows how to be prepared for the worst down the road. So maybe that's, one good strength I can bring to a team. Just knowing how to be prepared and not come up shorthanded while you're at the racetrack, and, just being on time and being ahead of the game. That's one of the better parts of me.
Well, and also the fact that you have such a long career in endurance racing. We've seen this with you before, where you know how to stay in a race regardless of what may happen to the bike. You know how to kind of ride around things or whatever. So, and you pointed out that you're going to be racing endurance the weekend after we're at Pittsburgh not this coming, but next weekend. And it's good that you're continuing to do that. It gives you seat time and keeps your riding skills sharp, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, exactly. Endurance is always recommended for any kind of racing. Even if you're preparing for anything, go endurance racing. Sit on a motorcycle for an hour and 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. In an hour, even in the first 30 minutes, you're gonna learn more about yourself than anything. And then you got to sit there for another 40 minutes. You're gonna learn if you're gonna be able to I don't know, figure it out. If the bike is riding really bad, you got to figure out how to ride it the way it's riding bad, or if like something has come loose, you got to be able to hang on to it and keep it from falling off. Or, I mean, there's foot pegs, there's shifter levers, there's been handlebars or brakes, whatever, that's always come loose, and you're having to adjust it in that entire stint, because you can't make a pit stop in your stint and it's going to put you behind, if all that makes sense. Then during endurance racing, even if you're working in the pits or if you're riding a bike, you learn a lot about yourself and a lot about racing.
Well, I'll never forget that time a couple of years ago when you had crashed, and I think your shift lever or your foot peg or something that was gone, and you had to hand shift the thing by reaching down, and you kept it going and stayed in that race. So, that's the point I'm making. Hey, so we've got 3 rounds. We've got Pittsburgh, New Jersey, and Barber coming up, and they're all in, quote, our neck of the woods, as I'd like to say, closer to you in where you are in Hermitage, Tennessee. And they're tracks that you are familiar with and have ridden a lot, especially Barber. Where you're at in the standings at this point, I mean, it's conceivable that you could end up in the top 3. What do you think your chances are? And are you gonna? You say you kind of let the guys like Teague, who might be aggressive on the track, go by or whatever. But if you're in the thick of things, do you want to try to get yourself in that top 3 or top 5? Would you be happy with where do you want to end up at the end of the season?
Well, I mean, the goal was to end up in the top 3, and make it to the banquet. That'd be really fun. Yes, there's 4 races left. I love Pittsburgh, and Barber's my home track, right next to Road Atlanta. Jersey having 2 rounds or 2 races there. I don't really know that track that well. It's so far away. I've only been there a handful of times. But I mean, the ultimate plan is to go try to qualify good and throw down some good laps in the race and end up on the podium. But yeah, it would be really cool to get the top 3 for the season. It'd really be surprising, on our end, because we didn't have a plan to do this whole season.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I'm thinking with you is the fact that here you are, you were kind of not sure, and you're pretty much in the thick of things, and your results have been good. So we want to wish you good luck as we get towards the end of the season, and we'll be checking in with you like we always do. But we're going to wrap it up here, Chris. I just want to say to everybody out there, we've got these 3 rounds coming up, and we always need corner workers. So I want to definitely make that appeal for people to get in touch with David Hawley at DHAWLEY at MotoAmerica.com to be a corner marshal at Pittsburgh, Jersey Motorsports Park, Barber, all of the above, or any of them. Corner workers are important, and Chris can vouch for that too. It's a vital part of our series, and it's best seat in the house, as we say. You get out there, and you can't get any closer to the bikes on the track, and it's a fun thing to do if you're into racing. Chris, thanks so much for being on. We always check in with you during the weekend at some point when we're at races, but we're looking forward to seeing you weekend after next at Pittsburgh, and great to have you. And just hire somebody to mow that lawn for you. Don't bother.
No, I'll get out there and do it. I might have a flashlight on front of the lawnmower or something, but I'll get everything done. I always do. Always make it on time.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. It was nice chatting with you as always. And Sean, I've got a good idea for a story for you. I think you should be a corner worker for a day and do a story.
I should do that. That would be good.
I want to see you pick up the bike and run in the sand trap and fall and stuff like that.
I want to grab the fire extinguisher too. I gotta have it all. So that'd be pretty fun. So
I want to know which turn this is, so I can just ride over there and give you a high five and go back on the track.
Yeah, I would. If I was racing, I'd crash on purpose in that corner just to make them work.
Yeah, just blow the turn and go so far where you just lay it down and Sean, get over here.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do everything I can to get you back in the race, Chris. So that's for sure.
All right, boys. You have a good day.
All right. See you guys.
All right.